According to QIDI CEO, even if there's smoke doesn't mean that there's fire. Also a new sealant that promises to keep water and air tight seals, potentially even changing food safety, as well as one of the coolest things, a 3D printed chest in Vietnam. Not even gonna tease that story, but we'll go over that along with Hexagons, and they're the bestagons. We'll also cover some of the best deals out on the web. Also, we'll look at some of the best 3D printing deals available today. And lastly, our free design that we just find interesting here and we like to celebrate the community. But it's time for the news. I'm Tommy from PPN News, here to tell you the news here in the 3D printing industry. November 12th, 2024. The news is calibrated and sliced, so get your bill plates ready as we deliver our first story. Sorry if I'm cringe, this is our first episode, but our stories are Sigma, as my kids say. That means good, I learned. Anyways, here we go. Now, we've all seen some cool prosthetics out there, different limb attachments and stuff like that. But now a 3D printed chest, this surgery hasn't been done many times around the world. It's starting to grow. But Vietnam just introduced one of the most complex chest designs, and it is a first in Southeast Asia. Really, no cap. That means lie, as my kids say. I'll stop. And Septhi Vinmac Times International Hospital in Vietnam, and as I said, a first for Southeast Asia, used a 3D printed titanium implant for chest wall reconstruction. A 55-year-old woman had a 12-centimeter tumor in her chest. She was already late stage, and it was pressing on her interior organs, including her heart, causing some major issues. With typical plans being chemo and such, this was not really a good place for it to happen, nor it was advisable on such a late-stage tumor. Along with the hospital, the university's 3D Technology and Medicine Center, and made with a Nikon SLM Solutions SLM 280 heat printing system, they came up with a custom print that requires no chemo or the need for several implants on someone already sick. So where they would have to do in several surgeries plus less scarring and less downtime. It's custom fit for this person's biology, giving them quicker recoup time. Speaking of recoup time, check this out. So merely 3 hours after surgery, that's right, putting in a new chest, they were walking around and able to breathe. Not far, they're not running the marathon here, but they were back home within 5 days and walking a mile inside of 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, I have to laugh. This is insane. It is stronger structurally than traditional methods would have been. Again, with less scarring, less grafting and muscle movement to recuperate what they had to take out. It's just mind-boggling how far this technology is, and let's just reflect on that for a second. That's so awesome. I expect a lot more cool stories like this. This industry is just blowing up. I am so excited to see what the next thing that they're able to do. Who knows, but everything's not always good news. If you've been aware of the process that's going on with the QIDI +4, then there are some issues. And if you don't, then probably stay away from QIDI +4 right now. Not the company, just their particular model. It's scarier than a toddler silent 2 rooms away. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily dangerous, but I'm not trusting what I'm walking into. However, what started as something really cool with a lot of potential, an interior chamber heater, is exactly what's causing the problem in this case. Now, what's happening is on a relay board in the back of the machine, if you live in low volt areas like US, Japan, some South American countries, there's a problem with this board if you're on the original firmware. I'll learn to talk, not today. But with this firmware, it would heat up the interior bed chamber too quickly, which would cause a part on that to smoke. Now, there's been no reports of a fire yet, but where there's smoke, there's typically fire. This is granted when people are pushing the machine to extremes, running the bed heater for extended period of time on long prints and not staying within safer parameters. This can be seen by Three Musketeer and MakerBot, along with several others who have discussed and made videos about this. So if you do have this issue, if you are a QD4, first immediately update your firmware to version 1.4.3. Anything before that, you need an update. Whether you're going to do that on the internet or through a USB stick, get that done. Secondly, because they have not sent out emails or contacted any of the original buyers, some of them just don't know. So if you see this, please contact QIDI. I'll have the link down below, as well as a link to the firmware update. So please get that. You can get a new board sent to you. Those two problems should fix this, and definitely get that done. As I say, if you live in the low volt areas, they'll do the board. I don't know if they do that if you're not in those areas, if you're out in Europe and you have this, or somewhere else that does not have the low volts like here in the United States. With that said though, when you do go to change out this board, make sure you unplug it and turn it off and watch some videos unless you're completely confident in doing something like this. I know a lot of you tinkerers are, some aren't as skilled. I know my hands aren't what they used to be, and I know I probably need some help potentially doing this type of small work with fine details with my fingers. But please watch some videos if you're not 100% sure. These are dangerous. There's even a sign on the back that shows that this is not something to be played with, period. The board switch out is pretty quick. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. The firmware update should slow the heating up enough so that there's not going to be an issue. That, along with the new board, they say is resolving it, but they are still looking into it. Have not put out anything official. However, Rick Impri has a YouTube video that I'll link down below where the CEO actually contacts him, and that's where I'm getting his words from right here. Though he hasn't spoken officially, he did give permission for Ricky to read this to the public, and I do go suggest that you check that out. But here's just a little of what he's. First off is the typical, we're looking into it, we don't want to rush to judgment, let's find out the full story. Our customers are our number one responsibility. He goes on to say, please rest assured that there is no fire risk associated with this issue and no fires have been reported so far. I myself have not been able to find any reports, and I've been looking everywhere of an actual fire, just some smoke. I'm not an electrician to know exactly what's going on there chemically, but anytime you see something like that, it is worrisome, even if it's not a fire risk. But still, make sure, as we said, firmware, new board. He does go on to acknowledge that this is very few users. He goes on to say that this issue is from extremely hard usage and not just your everyday usage of this. And he also promises that everyone, regardless of where you live, whether you're in the low volt areas that this is affected by or not, you're going to get an extra year on your warranty. So that itself, along with a fix, might be a reason to go dip your toe into that water now, because it does have a lot of potential. I even saw somewhere where it was printing at 33% faster than the K2 by QIDI that just came out. Also, the CEO, which I do have to tip my cap to, is actually addressing and talking about their issues, is saying to this person, you don't need to recommend our printers anymore. This type of news, though, kind of trust them a little bit more because they're being a little bit more upfront, honest, saying, hey, here's the issue, we're resolving it, but let us get some more information, and we're also going to do a warranty. I know a lot of people have been saying recall, but if there truly isn't a fire risk, I think this type of solution goes a long way. We can argue if it's enough or not, but at least they're making steps. I'd be interested in playing with this printer sometimes. I really like some of the ideas that they're going through. They've had a good history before. Everyone can have a lemon. Hopefully they are addressing it correctly. I don't understand why they didn't stress test the heck out of this with 3D printing blowing up the way it is and how many competitors are entering the enclosure market. Y'all have some great ideas. Just make sure it's safe. Make sure it runs smoothly, because early reviews on this were glowingly positive, and now there's a little bit of fear and trepidation, but again, being addressed. Update your firmware and replace your board, please. Okay, to the next story. Sorry. Update your firmware. If you're sticking around for more news, I got another one for you. Diamante Polymer, a German company, just came out with, and let me look at this, Dicotyl AM Hydra. It's a new sealant for post-production of prints, and it works with typically your regular printing material like PLA, ABS, PA, and ASA. This sealant is solvent-free, non-hazardous, and non-toxic. It is also not flammable. Maybe QIDI should have printed their boards off of this. Claims to get down to at least 2 millimeter in sealant size. And it is said to be crushed, dipped, sprayed, or injected. That sounded better on paper than saying those words together. It just feels weird. Though injection is recommended in small channels, while dipping is better for big prints. That doesn't help either. It does cure within 1 hour on the surface. This could be interesting with food safety and sealing areas. I know we've really been trying to break into this as an industry, and with layer lines and the dips and nooks and crannies, bacteria can grow in that. And though PETG is food safe, not really recommended for multiple use, more like a throw and go, nice little design thing, not a consistent use because of these crevices. It starts off at 28 pounds or $36 for a 250 milliliter size, or 1 liter for 70 pounds or just under $100 US. I'm gonna say 96 and some change. But I'm excited. What do you think? What crazy things are you gonna print with this and then seal? I love to try plates and drinks and planters, but I'm not as creative as y'all. I just think functional with a family my size. Money and cheapness is my goal. I'd love to see what some of y'all think and what y'all can do with this material. So please drop a comment down below. Let's see some ideas out there, because I'm probably gonna get a bottle and I only have so many ideas. I'd love to see what y'all come up with to play with this substance. Particularly if this can actually make prints food safe. That's what I'm the most excited about. I'm sure the hydrophobic properties of this sealant are gonna be great in marine and other water usage. But for me, I like food. That's the best, is a good meal. But you know what also is the best? Saving money, but Hexagons. It also at the molecular level provides a great amount of strength. Graphene has this type of structure at the molecular level, and it is now being put into some clay prints that is used in building. They're adding limestone calcinide clay, and it is producing some amazing results in 3D printing. The University of Virginia, along with Virginia Transportation Research Council, introduced a sustainable cementous composite that promises lower environmental impact by 31%. You know, always a catchy promise. Small graphene nanoplatelets as low as 0.05% give it an increased 23% compression. Compression, yeah, push down force. Why you want it in a building, obviously the weight of the building pushing down. This is on top of Honeywell, a heating company, is announcing a new 3D printed insulation type, and I am interested to see about that too, because we have a Honeywell heater here and we've already pulled it out for winter. I like it, works great. So to see with them getting their foot into the 3D printing and insulation is going to be exciting, because they do know a little bit of what they're doing. And even Walmart is printing one of their new buildings in 3D printing. I'm sure many of y'all have heard about. If not, really cool story, go check that out. But what I am interested, because it's this calcium, and we've recently learned about how the Roman concrete white lasts forever, and that has to do with clasts that make it last so long. Is it the same thing? I don't know. I'm not really a chemist. I'd love to know if it's some deviation of that. And since we've recently solved why Roman concrete lasts so long, if that's why they've decided to implement this, I'm going to reach out to them, and I'll definitely let y'all know if I'm able to find out anything on that. But that is some good news if you're looking into 3D printing buildings and that is something that excites you. But I know you are all excited about the deal, so let's go. But real quick, before you do, if you're liking the news and would like to see more, I know my skills aren't great. This is my first video. I am going to get better over time. Please do put a like and subscribe down below so I can continue to do this for you. I am not an affiliate marketer. These are just deals that I could find online that I thought were good and want to pass on to you. We have Sunlu, this brand that I've used many times. 3D PLA filament, basic 1 kilogram spool, normally at $28, is on sale right now for a limited time deal, $13.99. Next up, if you're one of the people that got the new CFS Creality filament system, we got a good deal for you on some PETG 1 kilogram spool, 27% off at $11.69, also in black. This will work nice in that new system if you got that. Next up, to help lighten. Next up, not only will we lighten your wallet, but we'll also light up your room a little bit with this glow-in-the-dark filament multicolored green, blue, and blue green. This looks really nice. I will love to print with this. Normally it goes for $42. It's now $33.53, 20% off for a 4-pack of 250 gram filament there. Definitely worth checking out. And if you're tired of black and don't want all of these glow in the dark, we do have an Overture PLA, also 1 kilogram filament spool, and that is going to run you $14.99, normally $23.99. So that's a nice 38% off savings there. And finally, though many Naruto fans will say that Sakura is trash, this Sakura Pink is not trash. It is a matte, also a 1 kilogram spool, normally $18.99. Today it's running at $16.14. So those are the deals for the day. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to sleep, but y'all have a great day and I will see you later. And now that we have some deals to save you money, let's save you a little bit more money and check out this awesome free printing idea that we found on the internet. No, that's not always stuck at that time. It does change. There are magnets in there. This really awesome design is by, and I'm gonna murder the name, Shinsaku Hirua. I'm terribly sorry. I have a hard enough pronouncing my kids' names, and if you can't tell, even speaking myself, so my apologies there. The link is down below. Like I said, you can see their name and this amazing work that they've done. This is the 5th edition of this, so they've really been working on this. And like I said, the magnets help it spin around, and there's only one visible screw, and that's in the back of the device, along with a USB charger. This thing is gonna find a way onto my desk for sure. Now, I just need to decide what filament to print that in, if I wanna pin it plate down on one of those plates that gives you those effects. Let me know what y'all think down below. What do you think we should print in that? And gosh, too many options. Well, that's my first broadcast. I'd like to thank y'all for watching, and please again, like, follow if you're interested, subscribe, whatever the technical terms are. A little bit nervous here. Thank you for watching the end and hope to see you again soon.